Yesterday, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern, Tesla and Elon Musk unveiled the real-life, real-world Cybertruck. They've got there's a web page up there you can order them from now. You got all the information out there. And, this is actually going to be really interesting in my opinion because we've talked a lot in the last year. So much focus with Elon has been on Twitter, which is honestly just really dumb because, it's Twitter. Okay, it's a social media platform. They're all dumb in their own unique ways. I think we can agree on that.
Sure.
What's really interesting to me here is this, to me, is everything that I actually love about Elon Musk. And I'm not saying that I love this vehicle, but is there anyone else in the world that would build this thing? No.
Very few.
No one's going to be like, hey, I watched Blade Runner once, so I'm going to build a pentagon-shaped car that is, again, just completely different from anything that you've seen. It's just stainless steel. There's no paint. There's no paint choices. It's just, hey, it's silver. That's what you get. It has all kinds of, weird things that you wouldn't. Who needs a bulletproof car, Mike?
Again,
not many people.
Very few people.
The other piece that is interesting, if they tell you that the glass isn't bulletproof in this, then what's the point of the bulletproof sides? But that's neither here nor there. It's like they got pictures, not pictures, they got videos of this thing towing rocket engines from SpaceX vehicles. So, I am not going to buy one of these because it's not me.
Can it fit my golf clubs?
It can fit your golf clubs.
No, it actually can't. Yeah, it's surprisingly no.
Yes, it can.
Of course it can. It's massive.
So I know the thing is 96 inches wide, so it's 8 feet wide, which you're not going to be able to get this into a lot of garages.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like about this is not the specific vehicle, because again, it's not for me, and that's fine. Not every car has to be for you. But what I love about this is that you're seeing them just saying, look, we know you might not like this. We're going to give it a shot and see what happens. And granted, I don't know how well it's going to sell because the starting price points for this year, for 2024 delivery, you're talking $80,000 and $100,000. There just aren't that many people who can afford those. Even when we talk about the people who buy F-150s and how expensive those get, the average on the F-150 gets up into the high 50s. You're talking about starting at $80,000. That's really expensive for a car. And so I don't know how many of these they're going to sell. It could be a complete flop. You could see people flock to them. But the people who buy these, it's not going to be the people who actually need a really functional work truck because the bed is too small for that. Again, you're not sure how long the battery's going to last if you're towing heavy equipment and stuff like that, if you run a landscaping company or anything along those lines. But I think the thing is cool just because no one else is trying it. Again, it's not my speed. It's not my style.
It looks like a tank from a sci-fi movie about the year 2500.
Well, no, it looks like the cars from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And so what I like about this, and this is the stuff that I like about Elon, is look, this might work, it might not. But no one else has the guts to try this. And so I'm going to do it. Every other person who puts out a pickup truck, they all look pretty much the same as the other ones. They all do pretty much the same stuff. And Elon said, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. And that's not something many corporate executives do. So I give him a ton of credit for that because no one else does this stuff.
In traditional Elon Musk fashion, he has overpromised and underdelivered on this, not only just in terms of how late it is, but it does get 340 miles on a single charge rather than the promised 500 miles on a single charge. I'm sure there are other features here that were, again, overpromised, underdelivered. That's kind of his way of doing things, which does it brings up that interesting question that we have asked for, is this a person that you fundamentally should take seriously at the end of the day and believe what comes out of his mouth? And I generally don't. I don't really think so. But
no, those are the bad parts of Elon.
Yeah.
The good parts are that this. Even if I don't personally like it or want to buy it, I love that they're building it. I love that they're actually building it because no one else takes risks like this, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but at least they'll find out. Whereas, you look at what... Look, I drive Subarus. I love my Subaru. But the iterations on them, it's like, well, we tweaked this over here, and, we stiffened the suspension a little bit, and we did that. It's little stuff.
Talk to me about the new small SUV that every single car company makes.
Exactly. Again, I don't know if it's going to do well or not. I suspect the sales volumes are going to be pretty low at first just because there aren't that many people who can afford $80,000 vehicles. Mm-hmm. Just the pure economics of it. When they finally get the $60,000 one out, maybe that sells, but the question that I have there is how much demand is there for an EV with 250 miles of range that still costs $60,000?
Don't know.
Those are questions that I wonder about.
To challenge you on the 80,000 vehicle piece, I mean, I would be interested to know what the average actual sales price is on the F-150 this year.
It's high 50s, low 60s.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
so 20,000 more. Yeah.
That's a big number, especially if you're trying to finance it over 5 years. That's a big number on a monthly basis to get to. Because if you look at the F-150, and I pulled this up this morning just because I was curious, what's it actually cost if I wanted to buy one? And the most popular models, which are the XLT and the Lariat, the XLT starts at 42. Most of them that I was building, you're getting up to low 50s. The Lariat starts at 57, and most of them you're getting into 65.
Okay.
So let's call it a $20,000 difference that you have. If you got $20,000 that you are trying to finance over 60 months, even without interest, that's an extra $300 a month.
Yeah.
And with the interest, it's with rates where they are now, you're probably talking extra $500 to $700 a month, depending on what you qualify for. So that's just tough. I mean, the F-150, there's not many people that are going out and buying, the Limited or the Raptor and things like that, where you're actually spending $80,000 plus. Most of them, they're expensive. I'm not saying that $55,000 is cheap, but it's cheap compared to $80 or $100. So I wonder what the sales are going to look like on this, because when you look at Tesla's breakdown in sales right now, the Model S and the Model X, which go for, right in the same ballpark, 90 to 120, they sell, I think it's 10 to 12,000 of each a quarter, as opposed to I think, and I'm just talking domestically here, I think domestically Tesla sells something like 50 or 60,000 of the other vehicles each a quarter.
Yeah. What is it? 3 and Y are the popular ones? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's not going to sell like that. I don't think they expect it to. Quite honestly, if that demand existed, then they wouldn't be able to keep up with it right now. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think there will be few of these, but there are, to your point about uniqueness, there are no other vehicles like this. It's a free advertisement on behalf of Tesla when you see one of these things driving around.
It is, and I'll also admit that the thing looks cooler in motion than it does standing still. You look at it standing still in the still shots, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then you look at it in motion, you're like, oh, that looks kind of cool, actually. I don't know. I just I like it when companies push the envelope, even if I don't get it. Fair. I've talked about this with things like esports. I don't understand esports. I tried to watch it. I couldn't get into watching people play a video game that I don't know and I don't understand. But I find it cool that, hey, someone's trying to do that, and someone's trying to, iterate something new there. I like when people get into new stuff, because that's America, in my opinion. The greatness of America is from pushing the frontier and the boundaries and seeing how far you can go, and then institutionalizing what worked and saying, we want to keep doing these parts because they're really good, and we learn that by pushing the boundaries. That's the balance between the idea of exploration and trying to do new things with, hey, let's do what works. And that's the beauty of America, in my opinion. This is that pushing of the boundary, and you need that, I think.